Remember, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. The makers of Hallmark greeting cards bring you a true and deeply moving portrait of an unforgettable man. A.J. Cronin's courageous and heartwarming story of The Doctor of Lennox. Big and little, folks everywhere are talking about the new fun-provoking Hallmark dolls. Children love to collect them. Grown-ups find them fun to give to every youngster they know. If you haven't heard about the new Hallmark dolls, listen carefully. We'll tell you all about them in a few minutes. Now, to preside over our program, here is your Hallmark host, Tom Shirley.
Thank you, Ron Wilson, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 8 years ago, in the Reader's Digest, A.J. Cronin wrote a story he called The Most Unforgettable Character I Ever Met. It had such appeal that the Reader's Digest followed it with other stories about unforgettable people. People in the byways of life who, for a little while, made something beautiful of the place they occupied. We've all read and loved them, but no character ever quite surpassed Cronin's original story about the Doctor of Lennox. I have never known anyone like the Doctor of Lennox, or if I did, I failed as others failed to recognize him when he passed. He passes our way tonight, and I promise you a thrill as you hear his story played by our superb cast of actors. Carl Swenson as the Doctor, a brown-eyed youngster named Romulus as the boy, and Ian Martin as A.J. Cronin. Come with us as the makers of Hallmark greeting cards present on the Reader's Digest Radio Edition a story you will be richer for having heard. The Doctor of Lennox.
I'm Sir Lancelot, riding on a white horse.
I'm Ivanhoe, the bravest knight of them all.
And I'm Bruce, the fearless horseman.
What can I do? You, Carrie? You can be our stable boy.
My way of thinking, the most unforgettable character I ever met is not some famous statesman, soldier, or tycoon. He's a simple soul who had no wish to dominate an empire. Instead, he set out to conquer circumstance and himself. I first knew him as a boy, small, insignificant, and poor, very poor. A lad whose mother was a scrubwoman, and a playmate who was barely acceptable to the select band of adventurous youths of which I was a member.
Look at him, Jay. He's going to fall on his face in a moment.
Oh, don't laugh at him, Chisholm. It isn't nice to make fun of people's infirmities.
But he's so funny. Every time he tries to run, he bobs up and down like a hobby horse.
Wait for me.
Yes. Come on, Carrie. Start them, Carrie. We don't want any stragglers on our side.
Sorry, Chisholm. Sorry I can't get you back.
Well, don't sputter about it. There isn't time. You sputter enough with your legs.
It's this old boot. It weighs a ton. Why do you wear it? It seems to me you do so much better without the fool thing.
Oh, no, I couldn't run at all without it. My left leg is so much shorter than the other.
Well, let's keep them moving over here. We'll be out of the game for fair if we don't hurry along.
You go first, Carrie, through the woods. Your speed won't hold against us so much in there.
Brilliant idea, Jay.
Yes, an excellent idea.
Well, get on, get on.
I'm going. You won't have to stop for me anymore.
I'll say we won't. We can get rid of the little beggar now.
What do you mean?
Let's go the other way, across the field to the swimming pool.
And leave poor Carrie behind.
Well, why not? Come, let's get away before he tags onto it.
We were just children, of course. And children have a kind of savage code that makes no allowance for infirmity. But Carrie always lived up to it, whether we took advantage of his defects or not.
First bell, Carrie. Don't be late for school.
I can't help it today. I have to finish my milk round first.
What's a milk round?
Oh, can't you see? I make deliveries to half the houses on this side of town.
What on earth for?
1 on 6 pence a week. That's almost as much as my mother gets for scrubbing the floor.
Why, George, what do you do with all that money?
I give it to my mother. I get a halfpenny for myself.
That's not much.
It's more than I got before.
Well, you'd better hurry up and make it. There goes the second bell.
Rory, I've got to run.
Look at him go.
Attention, please. The class will please pay attention and be quiet till I finish calling the roll. Chisholm.
Yes, sir.
Cronin.
Yes, sir.
Dawson. I said Dawson. Caddy Dawson isn't at school this morning.
Not yet, sir.
Here. Kindly conduct yourselves in a gentlemanly manner. The Master Dawson is being thrown deliberately.
Here comes now.
Well. Good evening, Master Dawson.
Good evening, sir.
And where has your lordship been? Taking breakfast with the provost, no doubt.
No, sir. I've been on a milk round.
Oh, until you got dizzy and lost your way?
No, sir. The dairyman was late and...
Sit down, Dawson, and take a demerit. If we stop to listen to your excuse, we'll be here all day. The more life struck at him, the less he struck back, and the gentler he became. He loved the woods and moors and the wild things that lived there, and nothing made him happier than tending some sick or maimed creature he'd found in his wanderings.
Look, Chisholm, there's a robin.
Let's catch him.
Oh, no. Please, he's hurt. He'll injure himself trying to get away.
Look out, Carrie. I'll sneak up quietly, and then I'll grab him from behind. Quick, stay after him. He's getting away.
Oh, it's no use, Chisholm. He runs away from me, too.
That's because you don't tell him you're his friend.
How does one do that exactly?
Well, I suppose it's a kind of a language you talk. Only you speak it with your heart.
How?
Yes. Show us, Carrie.
All right. I've done this lots of times. Yeah, now, don't be afraid, boy. I'm going to help you if you'll let me.
Fine, George. He's got it in his hand.
Yeah, what is it, fellow? The wing? Oh, did you twist your wing now?
What are you doing, Caddy?
Helping him. If I had a piece of thread in the thin twig, I could fix it so he'd fly again.
How do you know so much about all this?
Oh, I've been studying. I like healing things.
What for?
It'll come in handy someday. You see, I'm going to be a doctor.
A doctor, is it? My boy's going to grow up and become a doctor, eh?
Yes, Mother.
Great heavens, Kitty. Haven't you seen enough misery in life without wanting to stick your nose into any more of it?
But doctors can cure misery.
They couldn't cure yours nor mine either.
Well, a good doctor might have cured mine.
How? With a twig and a piece of thread, the way you do with your birds, hmm?
I don't know, Mother.
Well, I do. You're going to be a parson's son. And people's souls are much more important than their bodies.
But I don't know how to treat people's souls.
You'll learn, Terry. You'll go to school and learn every bit of it.
Don't you want me to be a doctor, Mother?
Not when you can be a parson, boy. Men people's spirits, Terry, not their bones.
Then I can't be a doctor, Mother.
You'll make a fine minister. I know you will. And all my life I've hoped and prayed for the moment when I'd see you up there in the pulpit. And it'll come, son. It'll come.
Yes, Mother. It'll come.
Here, boy, fix your tie and brush your hair down. This isn't form school anymore. You're entering college now, the student of divinity. Oh, yes, indeed, Mrs. McCready. He's doing very well. And if he keeps up the good work, he'll be duly licensed at the age of 24. Oh, I'm proud of you, my son. The whole town is proud of you. And Mr. Glenn says he's going to make you his assistant at the parish church.
And Jesus said unto him, that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. How does that sound, Mother?
Oh, fine, fine, son. It's the best sermon I've ever heard.
Was my voice all right?
Oh, perfect. Didn't stammer a bit. And you knew every word of it.
I hope I can remember to speak loud enough.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Carrie, what are you worrying about? For the first sermon, that's a great deal better than anyone will expect.
But it isn't a first sermon, Mother. It's a trial sermon.
Well, it's the same thing, isn't it?
No, not exactly. A trial is a test, and you must pass it.
That shouldn't bother you. You passed all the others.
Yes, I know, Mother, but this one is for you.
The trial sermon was a trial indeed for the newly ordained minister who ascended the pulpit of his parish church for the very first time.
My text today is from the Gospel according to John, chapter 3, verse 6. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit.
He began to speak in an earnest voice, and for a few moments it went well enough. Then, all at once, he became conscious of those rows upon rows of upturned faces, of his mother dressed in her best clothes, her eyes fixed rapturously upon him. And a paralyzing shiver of self-distrust swept over him.
Not that only, that is to say, that is to say, these words cannot be used. At least they cannot be used out of the original context.
He stammered hopelessly and tried to struggle on.
But I meant to say.
The words wouldn't come. There was a long, awful pause. And at last the Reverend Mr. Glenn came to his rescue.
We will now sing hymn number 10. We'll be back in a moment with the second act of tonight's drama, presented by the makers of Hallmark greeting cards from the pages of the Reader's Digest, America's favorite magazine. Now, here's Tom Shirley.
Introduce your youngsters to this brand new kind of fun. Give them Hallmark dolls. They're the newest idea in greeting cards, but more, they're 8 lovable dolls straight from the land of make-believe. Cinderella, Boy Blue, Little Bo Peep are just a few. See all 8 Hallmark dolls tomorrow. They stand up, they're gay and colorful both front and back, and all wear bright plumes in their hats. Inside each Hallmark doll is its own story and rollicking rhyme. Just to show you one reason children have so much fun with Hallmark dolls, listen to our little Peg read the story of Cinderella.
Little Cinderella was a stepchild, and they say that all her wicked family treated her that way. And when the prince decided it was time he had a bride, he gave a ball for all the girls throughout the countryside. Poor Cinderella didn't have a single dress to wear, and so she stayed at home and cried and wished she could be there. But then a magic fairy said, "Now there, child, don't you cry. I'll wave my wand and change things in the twinkling of an eye." So Cinderella's rags became the grandest dress she'd seen. Her slippers turned to lovely glass, and she looked like a queen. Be back by 12. The spell is broken then. And all your pretty clothes will turn to rags again. And when the prince first saw her there, he asked if she would dance. And after that, no other girl had given half a chance. But when she fled at 12 o'clock, the prince was in despair until he found her slipper that she had lost upon the stair. And then he summoned all his men and told them what to do. Search all the kingdom, find the girl whose foot will fit this shoe. And when he found his princess, they were married right away and lived happy ever after. So the fairy stories say.
Well, thank you, Peg. Folks, that's just a sample, for inside every Hallmark doll is its own story told in the same delightful way. It may surprise you, each Hallmark doll costs only 25 cents. How else could you give so much pleasure for so little money? See Hallmark dolls soon. Send them often to every youngster you know. And now, back to the Doctor of Lennox.
Whatever her feelings were, Carrie's mother never really had a chance to express them. Within an hour after the stricken with a heart attack, and when Carrie returned home from the church, he found her on the floor.
Mother, what happened?
It's all right, son. I'm ready to go.
No, let me get a doctor.
No, please. Stay with me, boy. Hold my hand. Show me the way.
I did my best, Mother.
No, son. I'm not disappointed. Only the flesh is disappointed, not the spirit.
Yes, Mother.
You said it in your sermon, yes. You said it to me. And someday you'll tell us again.
Yes, Mother.
Come in. Oh, good evening, Mr. Glenn.
Evening, Carrie. I just stopped by to find out how you were feeling. I know your mother's loss would be a great blow to you.
It is, indeed.
It's a great blow to all of us, son. She was a fine woman. Never missed a day in church. Worked hard all her life. The pity of it is she never lived to see you in full truth.
Yes, Mr. Glenn?
It's a pity she couldn't have been spared a little longer. I understand you're leaving us, Carrie.
Yes, sir.
Well, I believe that's the wisest thing to do under the circumstances. You can come back later, a few years from now, when people have forgotten all about your first work here. In the meantime, I think you'll be able to find a new parish.
I'm not looking for another parish, Mr. Glenn. I'm going up to Folston and try to get a job teaching school.
Well, you mean you're leaving the ministry?
Well, I think it's the... Yes, don't you?
Oh, I wouldn't say that, just because...
Well, I wasn't meant to be a parson, Mr. Glenn. I can't reach out to people by talking to them from the pulpit. I can't say the words.
You'll find a way, Carrie.
No, not the words, Mr. Glenn. You see, if there is any way at all, I must say it with a thin twig and a piece of thread.
Branded as a miserable failure, Carrie left town, and no one seemed to know or care what happened to him. Well, some years later, Chisholm and I were working in Edinburgh. I as a struggling young doctor, and he as assistant to the anatomy professor of the university. Funny how we both turned out to be doctors, when Carrie was the one who really longed for it. Just a moment.
Ready for dinner, old boy?
Well, Chisholm, I didn't expect you so soon. Come in, won't you? It'll just take me a minute to change the shirt and put on a tie.
No hurry.
Well, what's new at the university?
Oh, the usual thing. Class is getting larger all the time. New boys getting mixed up. Oh, I say, I completely forgot. Guess whom I've got for a student in the laboratory?
No, who?
Our old boyhood friend, Carrie. Dot and Carrie.
Well, for heaven's sake. What's he doing in your class?
Studying medicine. Imagine at his age starting out to be a doctor.
What do you mean at his age? How old is he?
30 at least. Alongside of the other students, he looks like a grandfather.
Well, what do you know about that? Carrie, studying to be a doctor.
Don't be so pleased about it, Jay. He's just as much of a misfit as he always was. Hobbling along, stuttering. The other students don't even bother to talk to him. Honestly, it's pitiful.
Poor chap. I say, where's he staying?
Oh, I don't know. Some dreadful place over near the river. Why?
Well, I'd like to see him.
And make him even more miserable than he is?
Oh, on the contrary, Chisholm, we might be able to cheer him up. At least it's worth a try.
Jane,
now, come along, Chisholm. Let's go over there.
Yes. Those were the days, all right. Remember how we used to run off to the swimming pool and leave you tagging along behind us, Carrie?
Yes, that seemed to be our favorite sport.
I didn't mind. As a matter of fact, I'm still tagging along behind.
No, I wouldn't say that. You'll catch up to us yet, Carrie.
Perhaps.
Well, are you sure you won't come to dinner with us, old man?
Yes, do.
Well, no thanks. I've got something cooking on the stove.
You get your own meals here?
Might just as well. Don't know anybody to get them for me.
Well, good old Carrie. It's nice to see your smile again.
I'm glad that you could come, Jay. You'll come again, won't you?
Oh, indeed we will. Good night, Carrie.
Good night.
Good night, Chap.
That's Carrie for you, just as cheerful as ever. Only I wouldn't be in his shoes for anything in the world.
The years slipped by, and I lost touch with Carrie. However, I did see much of Chisholm, who was a member of Parliament now, and just a bit tired of the strain of his new responsibility.
I've simply got to get away, old man, if only for a couple of days. I've got to get away from this constant pressure here.
Well, I could do with a bit of a holiday myself.
Then let's go, Jay. Up to Lennox, perhaps. The food will be vile, but the fishing is awfully good this time of year.
Lennox sounds fine to me.
Very well, then we'll go. I'll have my secretary get us accommodations at some out-of-the-way inn. And for 3 glorious days, we'll forget all about this horrible business of living.
Like something to read, gentlemen?
No, thank you, Mrs. Mumford.
Sure you won't have another spot of tea?
No, thank you, Mrs. Mumford. No, we've had a wonderful day fishing, and nothing pleases us more than to sit here at the inn and enjoy a moment of relaxation. Right, Jay?
Right.
Well, if that's the way you feel about it, I'll go upstairs and turn down the bed. If you need me for anything, just call out of...
Mrs. Mumford.
Oh, my arm.
What happened, Mrs. Mumford?
Oh, full stairs. I've slipped on them and broken the arm.
No. Just be still a moment. Let me look at it.
No, please.
It isn't broken, Mrs. Mumford. You've dislocated the shoulder.
Oh, don't touch it.
Perfectly all right, my dear woman. We're both doctors.
I don't care. I won't let you touch me. I have my own doctor.
There's no reason for you to suffer until he gets here. We can put the arm back into place and you won't have so much pain.
No. I'll send for my own doctor. He's right here in the village. He's a great deal better than any London man.
But, Mrs. Mumford, there's...
No. I swear by our doctor. He's the only one in the world that I'll allow to treat me.
There you are, Mrs. Mumford. I'm sure you'll feel better now.
Thank you, Doctor. I felt better the moment you came in the door. Everybody in Lennox does. I am for miles around, too. We wouldn't have anybody but you.
Well, I appreciate the compliment, but really, you didn't have to suffer all this time until I got here. Those London men could have set your arm.
Not in a million years. Besides, they went upstairs. Wait. They're coming down.
Well, Mrs. Mumford, are you...
Carrie! Jay! Chisholm! Well, how good it is to see you
Hello,
again.
Carrie. How are you?
Fine, fine. Congratulations on your splendid work in Parliament.
Oh, I dare say I haven't really done anything startling yet.
And you, Jay, you're a writer now, a great writer. Well, I am certainly proud to know you both.
Well, we're proud to know you, Carrie.
But you've changed so, old man. I hardly would have recognized you.
Oh, I'm not so different, really.
Well, what are you doing here? In Lennox, I mean.
Why live here?
Oh, up in the Highlands, so far away from everything?
I like the Highlands, Chisholm.
But what do you do for a living?
Do? Good heavens, don't you know? He's the Doctor of Lennox.
Yes, Carrie was the Doctor of Lennox. But not the shy, shabby, stammering Carrie of old. No, this Carrie had the quietly confident air of a man who was established and secure. Well, he pressed us to come to supper at his home, and when we accepted, he drove us out an old dirt road, stopping just once along the way for a woman who called out to him.
Dr. Dawson! Dr. Dawson!
Yes, Mrs. Baker.
Oh, I'm so glad you stopped, Doctor. I have something for you.
Well, now, what have we here?
A brace of ducks, Doctor. The best ones of the lot. My husband wouldn't think of going hunting without bringing you something.
Oh, thank you. But really, you shouldn't have done it.
After all you've done for us? Oh, I could kiss your hand every time I see you.
How is the...
Thanks for you.
Not at all. You tell Henry that I was asking for it.
Oh, indeed enough, I will, and God be with you, Doctor.
Goodbye, Mrs. Baker.
Well, is this the way you collect your fees, Carrie?
Yes, sometimes. Though these people are very generous, Chisholm. My doorstep is never without milk, eggs, and butter in the morning, and on New Year's Day there is a great deal more.
But this woman seems so grateful, Carrie. What did you do for her?
Helped a boy. It was a very difficult case, and it took a good deal of my time, but the boy is perfectly normal now.
Really? What was wrong with him?
He was born with one leg that was shorter than the other.
This indeed was the Doctor of Lennox, loved by all, and loving the work he was born to do. And now in his rightful place, he was poised and serene. At dinner that night, when we met his pretty young wife and two lovely children, Chisholm took me aside and remarked,
Looks as though the little man has found himself at last.
"You know, there's something patronizing about the way you say that. After all, Carrie is a remarkable man. A man who's won through to victory by refusing defeat."
Others have done the same.
Oh, come now, Chisholm. Tell the truth. As a member of Parliament and a junior minister into the bargain, which would you rather be? Yourself or the Doctor of Lennox?
Confound it, old man. Why do you rub it in? You know the answer.
Thank you, Carl Swenson, Ronnie List, Ian Martin, and all the splendid players who brought us the story of the Doctor of Lennox. I guess any one of us would change places with that little Scotch doctor who put people above privilege and found the greatest treasure in the world in the human heart.
Hours of vacation fun await the lucky youngsters who collect Hallmark dolls. So start your collection, start your children on this new collecting adventure. Send them Hallmark dolls. Remember, Hallmark dolls are only 25 cents apiece. So see them soon, send them often. Remember Dad, too, on his day next Sunday. Send him a Hallmark Father's Day card to show him you haven't forgotten.
You are cordially invited to be with us again next week at this time. If you enjoyed tonight's show, won't you please tell your friends about it and ask them also to tune in for next week's program sponsored by Hallmark Greeting Cards? At that time, you will hear a poignant and challenging true story of a man who believed in the goodness of all and a boy who almost changed his mind. Another fine dramatic program brought to you by the makers of Hallmark Greeting Cards.
The Doctor of Lennox is dramatized by Robert Sloan from the pages of the Reader's Digest, America's favorite magazine. The Hallmark program was directed by Mark Sloan, with music especially composed by Jack Miller. To be doubly sure of the finest quality, always look on the back of your cards for those 3 identifying words, a Hallmark card. This is Ron Lawson speaking for the makers of Hallmark Greeting Cards. Buy Hallmark dolls where you buy Hallmark cards. Remember, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness.